Hi Cougars! Today we are going to be looking at how to find unit rates. So in our last lesson that we did, we discussed ratio tables and how we needed to either use multiplication or division to fill in the missing box that was there. And from that we could see that if you go back to your initial ratio, that starting ratio, and then you move forward, you're able to fill in the box using either multiplication or division so that you can get those ratios. Well, today we're going to talk about unit rate, and unit rate is an even almost like easier way for us to determine what the rate of something is. And we're going to still use the ratio table because that's makes it a lot easier to understand. So we're going to first look at what is a rate. So we've been talking about ratios, right, as a comparison of two things. Apples to oranges, unicorns to narwhals, whatever, right? So now what we're going to look at is we're going to look at rates, and rates are like a measurement or comparing two things that have different units of measurement or quantities. So we're going to say that a rate is a ratio of two quantities with different. A rate is a ratio, so it's like a special ratio, still comparing. So it is a ratio of two quantities that are different units. So rate is a ratio that compares different units, and these units can be like measurement or values, those kinds of things. Okay, so a rate, still a ratio, so we're still comparing things using the dots, using the fraction model, or using the word to. And it's a ratio that compares different units. So what do you mean by that, Miss Englander? What are different units? Give me an example. Okay, well, how about like cost per pizza? So you've got cost on the top and pizzas on the bottom. So like how much it costs per pizza. Miles per hour. What else do we have? Like how many pints are in a cup? Those kinds of things. Let's look at what I mean by rates. Okay, so let's say that we have a rate of $27 for 9 pizzas. Okay, so here is, we have the cost on the top, and we have the number of pizzas on the bottom. That is what we're comparing. We're comparing the cost of the pizzas. Cost to pizzas. That's what we're comparing it as. Now, we could do a unit rate, which allows us to know how much it is for one pizza. So a unit rate is what our topic is today. And a unit rate, that's 2 words, sorry, there should be a space in there. A unit rate is a way to compare a unit to 1. Okay, so by that I mean that your denominator is always going to be 1. So a unit rate compares to the number 1. So units per unit. You're often going to hear the word per. Not per like a cat, but per. Like P-E-R. Per. That is our clue word that we have a unit rate. So when we're comparing things, we can look at the units to 1. So cost per pizza. So we want to know then if it's $27 for 9 pizzas. We want to know how much is that? How much money does it cost for 1 pizza? That is our unit rate. Well, we can find the unit rate by using division. So when we use division, we're able to find what it is for 1. Well, if I take 27 and divide that by 9, so $27 divided by 9 pizzas, right? I get a cost of $3 per pizza because 9 times 3 gives us a total of 27. So 27 divided by 9 gives us a total cost of $3 per pizza. So our unit rate is right here. This is our unit rate. We're going to use this line right here as our per. $3 per 1 pizza. We have a denominator. So this is our unit rate. So I know that if I wanted to buy more than 1 pizza, I would be paying $3 for every pizza. So like I could say, what if I bought 8 pizzas? Well, I could do 8 times 3 and get 24. Okay, well, what if I wanted to buy 10 pizzas? Well, 3 times 10 is 30. So this cost per pizza allows us to then move forward with knowing how much it is for every unit. Okay, so let's look at some examples to see. When we have equivalent rates, they mean that the ratios are equivalent. So we have the same unit rate when we're doing equivalent rates. So if let's say that I was comparing like Pizza Hut to Papa Murphy's. Per pizza, well, maybe it's $3 at Pizza Hut, but at Papa Murphy's, it's like $12. Okay, we're comparing the same units of measurement per pizza, and so they would become equivalent at that point. All right, so let's look at, I want to do an example, and let's say that, okay, let's say, I want an example that is really great. Okay, how many, let's say we're making some fruit juice, and it's 4 pints of water for every 2 cups of concentrate. Okay, so let's say that I am making juice, and my juice is 4 pints of water for every 2 cups of concentrate. And concentrate is like that frozen juice that you would buy like in the grocery store, or you have to mix it with water in order for it to taste good. Okay, so in example A here, we're comparing 2 things. We are comparing water with really highly concentrated juice. Okay, so we've got the juice and we have to mix it with the water. But I want to know then, how much do I have per unit? Okay, so how many pints of water do I need per cup of concentrate? So let's go ahead and put this into a ratio table. Okay, so let's organize our work into a ratio table. So because we're looking at water, pints of water, so let's put that on top, pints of water. On the top, and we want to know what it is per cup of concentrate. So because the 1 is always on the bottom and we're looking at concentrate per cup of concentrate, then concentrate has to go on the bottom because cups, we wanted cups on the bottom. Concentrate. I can't concentrate right now while I'm talking. Okay, and I spelt it wrong. Which way is it, Missing Leonard? It's with the C. Concentrate. I didn't make my box big enough, sorry. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to take our 4 pints of water to 2 cups of concentrate. So we're going to put the 4 on top and the 2 on the bottom because that's our ratio, 4 to 2. I have my ratio of 4 to 2. But my question is, how much for 1 cup of concentrate? So I want a 1 down here. Now, I'm going to apply what I learned in the last lesson around ratio tables. And I'm going to say, okay, well, how do I get from 2 to 1? So 2 divided by what equals 1? Well, I know that 2 divided by 2 equals 1. So I'm dividing by 2. That's my change. So here I can divide by 2 and I get 2 pints of water for every 1 cup of concentrate. Okay, but wait, what if I wanted to know, so I'm going to add on another box, what if I had 4 cups of concentrate? Okay, well, instead of going back to this unit here, we're now going to go from our 1, our unit rate of 1. So I'm going to use this now, right here, as my place to go for finding equations because multiplying by 1 is so much easier than dividing by something in order to figure it out. So 1 times what gives me 4? Well, I just multiply by 4, right? So if I do that here on the top, I'm going to multiply by 4, and that gives me 8 because 2 times 4 is 8. So when I have 4 cups of concentrate, I'm going to need 8 cups of water to make my juice. All right, let's do another example. Okay, let's say that that there's some cereal that we're eating, okay? And let's say that let's say that the nutrition label says, I'm going to change the page because this is a lot, okay? All right. The nutrition label that I'm reading on my cereal box, so let's talk about cereal. So this is example B, is cereal, okay? And it says that every half cup of cereal has 1/3 grams of protein. And I want to know how much protein is there for every cup. Okay, so my question that I need to answer is, how much protein per cup of cereal? All right, so my clue word here is this word per. That tells me that's where my comparison comes, right? So I'm comparing protein to cereal. And because cereal is on the back of the per, that needs to go on the bottom. So I want to know how much is in 1 cup of cereal. All right, so we want to know how much protein. how much grams? Protein, grams of protein. So grams of protein, right? Well, on the other side of this ratio that I'm comparing it to, I'm going to put an X here just because we don't know. So on the other side of this, I'm going to put what I do know. Okay, I do know that there's a half a cup of cereal. So I'm going to put my half cup cereal on the bottom. I'm comparing cups to cups. So because it was per cup, I knew that cups needed to go on the bottom. So cereal on the bottom, cereal on the bottom. And that means that the grams have to go on the top. Well, it tells us right here there's 1/3 per cup. So I'm going to have 1/3 grams of protein for every half a cup. Well, I want to know then, how much is there per cup? So I can take this ratio of 1/3 divided by 1/2, and I can change this into a ratio table. So I'm going to take this comparison right here. I've got this compared, this grams to grams, cups to cups, and I'm just going to set up a table now. So I'm going to compare grams of protein to cups of cereal. All right, my initial ratio was 1/3, so I had 1/3 for every half a cup. I want to know how much is in a cup. So 1 right there. All right, now I am ready to do some multiplication. How do I get from a half to 1? What do I have to do? Well, I could do 1 divided by a half, and that gives me 2 halves in a cup, right? Or I could say, how many times do I have to multiply a half? But what do I have to multiply a half by to get to 1 cup? Well, I could do 1 divided by a half, and then we have 1/1, 2/1, and that equals 2/1. So again, this is where that multiplication comes in of keep, change, flip, because we have a keep, change, flip. I kept it, I changed it, I flipped it. I get 2/1. So that means that I have 2 multiply times 2. Okay, so when I multiply by 2, right, 1 times 2, that gives me a whole. I need to multiply on the top by 2. So I'm going to multiply by 2. Okay, well, what is 1/3 times 2? Well, let's figure that out. 1/3 times 2/1. 1 times 2 is 2, and 3 times 1 is 3. So I have 2/3 cups of 2/3 grams of protein for every 1 cup of cereal. Okay, but let's say that I had 4 cups of cereal. Well, now I can just come over here and I can multiply from 1 times 4. So I come up here to 2/3 and I multiply times 4. Using this unit rate right here is a really easy way for us to be able to move to our next box without having to guess what did I multiply a half by to get to 4, or 4 divided by a half. Like, it just gets really funky right there. So going back to this unit rate of 1 makes things so much easier for us. So 1 times 4 is 4. Well, now let's look at 2/3 times 4/1, because we want to make it a fraction. So 4 times 2 is 8/3. 8/3. Well, and we could even say we know that it goes in twice with 2/3 left over. So you could leave it as a improper fraction, or you could mix it up. All right, let's do a try it. All right, let's do a try it. Okay, on your try it, I would like for you to do fish. Yes, let's go fishing. Okay, how much is it on the cost per pound? Okay, so let's say that it is $21.50 for 2 pounds of fish. And I want to know how much then is it for 1 pound of fish? What's the cost? And then I want to know how much for 5 pounds. Okay? All right, hit pause right now so you don't hear me solving this. And then when you are ready, you may hit play. All right, so hit pause. All right, so we're going to set up the cost on the top. And then we're comparing it to pounds on the bottom. All right. My initial ratio is $21.50 to 2 pounds. Oh, I don't know why I just labeled it. You don't need the label, it's already right there. So $21.50 for every 2. I want to know how much it is for 1, and then again, how much it is for 5 pounds. So cost per pound. So I need to first start with the bottom. How do I get from 2 to 1? Okay, well, I'm dividing by 2. So on the top, I have to divide by 2. So $21.50 divided by 2 gives me $10.75. So $10.75 for 1 pound. Okay, well, I want to know how much is it then for 5 pounds. So what I'm going to do is I need to go from the 1 to the 5. Okay, well, I multiplied by 5. So on the top, I'm going to go from the $10.75 and multiply that by 5. So if I say $10.75 times 5, well, 5 times 5 is 25. That's 35, plus 2 is 7. Carry my 3. 5 times 0 is 5, plus 3 is 3, and 5 times 1 is 5. So it costs $53.75 for 5 pounds of fish. So $53.75 per 5 pounds of fish. All right, look at that. Now you guys can go grocery shopping and figure things out at the grocery store. Woo! Buying bananas, grapes, apples, anything that comes in pounds, you guys are ready to go. Okay, 6th graders, go ahead and answer your essential question. I know there's a lot of notes today. It's just because you're combining finding rates and a table and unit rate. And so if you were stuck up here on when we had fractions, that is the 7th grade work. So that would be where you'd want to draw your attention to, is solving problems with fractions. So maybe you're a 2 right now because that's what you're struggling with. If you're struggling with all of it, then you need to come back to the Google Meet and say, Miss Englander, I need some problems that are basic. And then we can move forward from there. Okay? All right, 6th graders, thank you for your hard work today. Make sure that you put your essential question answer and where you're at with your rating in the box. And as always, make it a great day the Cougar way.